What's up, everybody? I want to talk to you about how to price your marketing services. This is a critical element. Setting a price, getting the most that you possibly can for the work that you do. Not because you're greedy, but because you have a company to run and you do not want to spend your life struggling to pay all your bills, to pay your team, and not have anything left over for yourself. So I see this a lot, and so I want to make sure that you get the highest fee you possibly can for the work that you do. The very best way for you to be able to get the most money for your services is to do value-based pricing. So value-based pricing, I'm not sure if you've heard of it or not, but those who have are too scared to even try it. Those who do it, their businesses completely transform. They are able to command very high fees for the work that they do. This is a case of separating time from income. When you're doing value-based pricing, it doesn't matter how much time goes into the project. It doesn't matter if it takes you a minute or if it takes you 10 years, you're still going to get the value that you provide your clients. And that is what is key. So let me talk to you about what is not value-based pricing. Hourly rates, per project, doing packages. Those three types of pricing, which are very common in the marketing world, are not value-based. So if you're doing hourly rates, then you're just selling your labor. So that is exactly time equals money. And that is a rough position to be in. Typically what happens is the client is the one who's dictating. The client dictates what you do, what the problem needs to be solved. This is the world of the freelancer. You're just augmented labor. We don't want that because you're not going to be able to make very much money on a per hour basis. On per projects, where you just say, well, here's how much I'm charging for this project. Well, then that comes down to scope. Hopefully you've scoped the project perfectly so that the estimated amount of costs that you're going to have and the estimated profit that you think you're going to get and the amount that the client pays works out for you. Then the packaging. I see packaging a lot with people who are trying to do productized services like package A, package B, package C. And they're hoping that that's value, but it's not. It's just more services, or it's on a per seat basis. It's close, like per seat is almost value-based pricing. So like if you bought Salesforce, every new salesperson that you bring on, it costs you more money because every time you bring on a salesperson, you get more revenue inside your business. Theoretically, that's what happens. So is per seat pricing value-based? It's a little closer, but it's still not quite it. If Salesforce actually charged you a percentage of the sales that were being made, well, then it would be value-based pricing. And so that's what we're going to get into. To truly be value-based pricing, you must know what the end result value is going to be for the client. And then you get paid a percentage of that. And that percentage varies based upon how much impact it provides that client, how much risk is involved. If it's assured that the person is going to get, say, $1 million from this project, and that $1 million is going to recur every year on into the future, how much would that client be willing to pay if they knew it was like guaranteed money? Well, they'd probably pay you a straight up $1 million. And then they'll make the additional millions into the future. They'd be happy to do that. Most people would be happy to do that. The thing is projects aren't assured, especially marketing services. They're not assured. You have a good idea of what needs to happen. You have a good idea of what might happen. So if we say that the value to the client is $1 million, then we have to have some sort of a risk discount. So let's call it a 50% discount. It could be anything. It could be an 80% discount. It could be a 75% discount. It doesn't matter. Just picking 50% just for example. So a 50% discount is $500,000. Okay, what would be a reasonable fee for someone earning a nearly guaranteed $500,000? The client's fairly sure they're going to get that $500,000. You're fairly sure you're going to get it for them. What's a reasonable fee? Some percentage of that $500,000 will be reasonable to your client. And that might be 1%, it might be 10%, it might be 20, 30, maybe even 50, maybe even more than that, depending on how much the person believes, your client, how much your client believes you're going to be able to provide them that $500,000 to $1 million in value, and whether or not that $1 million or $500,000 is going to occur again in the future. So an example would be you are going to bring in some services that transforms the way the company operates, and you're able to save them $1 million in value, but you're assuring them that it's going to be about $500,000 just to make everything safe. And that $500,000 savings is going to happen every year forever. Well, what value does that bring to a client? Well, they might pay you $250,000 for that. Whereas if you just came in and said, oh, well, it's going to take me this many hours to do, it's going to take this much staff, we'll have all these other admin expenses, we're going to have this and that, okay, and then add a fee to it, okay, the project price is going to be $100,000. Well, you cannot come up with a project fee that is better than a percentage of the value you provide, mostly because the client just won't pay it if they can't see the value. So let's get into the biggest stumbling block for you to ever get paid based on value. The biggest is belief. Belief from yourself, and I see this a lot. Most of the clients that I ever have, most of the prospects that I face, they just don't believe they can get paid based on the value. They're still stuck in a mindset that they provide a service, that they do labor, they get paid for labor. They don't see that what their labor does is produce a value outcome. Belief on your part is the biggest stumbling block. Then the second biggest one is the belief on the client side. Do they even believe you? One, do they believe that the value of this project actually is $1,500,000, whatever that number is? Do they actually believe it? And in the course of selling to them, discovering what their problems are, consultative selling, discovering what their problems are, do they tell you this thing provides, if we solve this problem, we will get this value? If they can tell you that and they truly believe it, then you have an opportunity to get paid based on value. Then the next thing they have to believe is that you are the one to provide that value. If they don't truly believe that they have to work with you and not anyone else, if they don't believe that, then they're unwilling to pay you based on value. So I'll give you an example, myself included. So I have shifted most of my pricing. Some smaller clients that come along I don't do this with, but most of my pricing is a fee plus a percentage of revenue, or I get paid equity. So a lot of times that's a fee plus equity. And the only people who sign up for that deal are people who believe that I can deliver long-term value, not just value to straighten out their business right now, not just value to grow their company right now, but to grow their company for years. This is something that I have to have a strong enough authority in the mind of my prospects for them to go through the consultative selling process where we discover their problems and uncover the value to their company, and then they say, yes, yes, that is exactly what I am after, and you are the one I want. In an upcoming video, I'll go into how to build your authority so that your prospects look at you and say, yes, I want you, and I'm not even going to consider those other people, because all they were going to do is sell me a project or sell me labor. They were not solving this big problem that you've been able to uncover. They were not doing that, and I look at everything that you're doing out there on the internet and all the marketing, your brand, I believe in it. I believe in you. And so I am willing to give you a share of the value that you're going to bring to me. Also, in a future video, we'll go into consultative selling, how to actually do it. There's a book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. It's on right over there. You might be able to see it. Let's grab it. Boom! Slide back in here. Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. This book will teach you consultative selling. It is a process in which you discover through asking questions and then letting the client, your prospect tell you exactly what the problem is, the thing that they really want solved, and how much value it is to them. So we'll go into consultative selling in a future video. We'll go into how to build your authority so that people believe in you. And in a lot of my videos, I'm always going to talk about mindset so that you believe in you. I hope this was a good video for you. Please hit me up in the comments. Ask questions. I'm more than happy to help you develop your authority, develop consultative selling, and figure out the best way to do value-based pricing for you. So, what I'd like you to do is like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the socials, and I'll talk to you in the next video.